Hello everybody, it's Craig Whispering Storyteller here, and I hope you are well. So today we're going to continue with Island of the Lizard King. Now this is the fourth part of Island of the Lizard King, and for anybody who's just joining in on this video coldly with no background, you're going to feel very, very lost. So I do recommend that if you're interested, go back and watch parts 1, 2, 3, and you will get the gist of what is going on. But I'm going to dive straight back into where we were when we left, and we were looking for, we were going to have to look for the shaman to kill the Lizard King. So we had freed the dwarfs, and we were celebrating. Then we found out about the Gong Chong and the Lizard King. So we are immediately going to start looking for the shaman and then regroup with the dwarfs in 2 days' time. So let's crack on with that. 363. Okay, so we walk down the river and jump onto the raft. Progress against the current is slow as the river narrows and the water runs faster. Do you wish to journey by raft, or would you rather walk overland? Let's go on the raft, because I guess he's probably going to have to be near water in order to survive. So let's go to 228. There are several large rocks jutting out of the water, which you have to steer around. It is hard work, and you are now tired. You decide to pull back onto the bank for a while to rest. Under the shade of some trees, you lie down and fall asleep. When you wake up, you find you are covered with huge mosquito bites. Test your luck. If you are lucky, turn to 236. If you are unlucky, turn to 103. I'm feeling lucky today, guys. Though I'm not playing this properly, I'm just kind of making all of the choices because it's just about the story here. 236. Although the itching is almost unbearable, there are no telltale signs of fever. You jump back to your raft and head up the river once again. 379. For no apparent reason, the water starts to become very turbulent. A whirlpool forms in front of the raft, and you have to cling on to stop yourself from being flung off. Suddenly, a great wall of water rises out of the whirlpool, forming itself into a very vague humanoid shape. You're about to be engulfed by a water elemental. If you possess the pouch of unlimited contents, turn to 181. If you do not have this item, turn to 300. Now we don't have this item, so I'm not sure what we do. Let's turn to 300 because we don't have it. As much as I'm cheating with the fighting and the test your luck, there's no point in lying because we haven't collected that item. The water elemental crashes down on top of you, smashing the raft to pieces. Above the roar of the water, you hear the gargling laughter of the water elemental. You grasp for air as you are forced under the pounding water. You summon all your strength to swim back to the bank. Roll 2 dice if the total is the same or less as your skill score. Turn to 150. If the total is higher than your skill score, turn to 234. So we're going to turn to 234. You struggle against the raging torrent but are unable to escape the whirlpool made by the water elemental. You become weaker and weaker until you can swim no more. You black out and are engulfed by the 159. Well, we're lucky, and that was a lucky one, even though we did originally take the wrong turn, almost. You stand up and look inside your backpack. Your provisions, if you have any remaining, have disintegrated and are no longer edible. But all of your other possessions are still intact. You have no choice but to continue your journey on foot. Okay, so we turn to 197. Looking west, you see the sun slowly sinking till it looks like a big red balloon sitting on the sea. Soon it will be dark, so you decide to camp down for the night between two rocks, which you cover with branches and leaves. You are very hungry after your ordeal in the river and decide and realize that you must eat something soon. If you have any provisions left, turn to 186. If you do not have any food left, turn to 148. Okay, we have food left. I've decided. You reach into your backpack and you are almost trembling with hunger. You devour a portion of your own provisions and crawl into your shelter to settle down for the night. Looking up, you see wispy clouds in shades of pink and purple gradually deepen its colour as the night takes over from the day. Despite the deafening noise of thousands of insects enjoying the cool night, you are soon fast asleep. Test your luck. If you're lucky, turn to 388. We are lucky. We just need to find the shaman, wherever he may be. The night passes without incident and you wake up early to continue your quest. Turn to 212. It is soon hot and you are a little concerned that your water bottle is nearly empty. You search for water and eventually find a shallow pool of rainwater in a rock basin. You drink your fill and top up your water bottle. You're about to set off again when you notice some chalk marks on the rocks by the pond. If you wish to read them, turn to 72. If you'd rather set off immediately, turn to 30. This could be the shaman, so we need to check it out. 72. The marks are a simple request, written by the shaman you are seeking. Yes, good. They ask you to find a feather and tie it to your hair. If you wish to make peaceful contact with him, you wonder how the shaman knows you are looking for him and realize it's important to find a feather. You set off immediately to find one. So we're looking for a feather. 30. You're walking in a very determined way towards the volcano when a large creature springs in front of you from behind a large rock. Its grotesque torso is covered with ugly warts and saliva drools down its long chin. You've been ambushed by a hill troll. And there is the hill troll there. Unless you are wearing Sock's helmet, you lose the first attack round. If you win, turn to 65. I don't remember having a helmet. In fact, I haven't even been making a list of what provisions I do have. You set off again, hoping to find the shaman soon. You notice a few tufts of grass tied in knots, and guess he is not far away. You wonder if he knows you are near and stop to look around. There is no sign of life, merely a dead seagull lying on a rock to your right. If you have read the shaman's chalk marks, turn to 89. If you have not read his message, turn to 365, or we have read the message. And we're looking for a feather to put in our hair. So we'll turn to 89. You walk over to the seagull and pluck a feather from its wing. Using twine from your backpack, you tie the feather to the back of your head and walk on feeling a little self-conscious. Turn to 269. Halfway up the side of the hill to your left, you see an entrance to a cave. The rocks all around the mouth of the cave are painted in bright colours, but each one has a small skull resting on top of it. If you wish to climb the cave, turn to 59. If you'd rather walk on towards the volcano, turn to 303. It could be where the shaman lives. We don't know for sure, but let's check it out. 59. Climbing up the hill, your foot catches on an unseen piece of twine tied between two small piles of rocks. The rocks tumble over, alerting the occupant of the cave to the presence of an intruder. A wild-eyed cave woman appears at the mouth of the cave wearing furs and carrying a spear and a stone club. She steps forward and hurls her spear at you. Test your luck. If you're lucky, turn to 108. We're lucky. Just hopefully she's not gonna... I thought it would have been the shaman. Unless she is the shaman. 108, sorry, I forgot what it was there. The spear whistles past your head, shattering, clattering on the rocks behind you. The cave woman grunts in anger and runs forward to attack you with a club. We're gonna have to fight her, but we've won, so we turn to 79. You walk up the hill and step into the cave. It smells of rotten food and stale body odour. A few possessions are strewn all over the floor amidst the rubbish. You're about to leave the cave when you catch sight of a small clay ball, almost hidden in the recess beside the cave woman's fur bedding. The ball contains a red powder. Will you dab some on your face, swallow some of it, or leave the cave without touching it? But we don't know what it is. Do we have any reason to dab it on our face? I'm not sure. It's a game of chance. Let's dab some on our face. It might show that we're friendly. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to do that really when we don't know what it is. 332 was that? Yes, it was. The powder is not only decorative but also magical. It belonged to a wizard who was press-ganged into slavery by the Lizard King. However, before he went into the mines, the wizard discarded the bottle containing the powder. Hoping that somebody might find it, he was discovered by the cave woman, who did nothing with it except empty it into a clay bowl. The powder will protect you from any person or being who tries to control your mind. Yes. Add 2 luck points. There is nothing else of interest in the cave, so you decide to leave. That will be a good one to have when the Lizard King tries to control us, or that thing that's attached to the Lizard King. You walk back down the hill and towards the left of the volcano. Turn to 303. Eventually, you reach the foot of the volcano but still see no sign of the shaman. You look up and see the gigantic black mountain reaching up into the sky and wonder head. If you wish to climb straight up the side of the mountain, turn to 178. If you wish to walk around the foot of the volcano, turn to 355. Let's go up the side of the volcano. Just please don't let it erupt when we're walking up it. I guess there'd be smoke coming up, it wouldn't just happen. Immediately we'd have some signs. On the level piece of ground you see a circle of polished stones which contains a pile of artifacts, a bracelet, a clay doll, a mug and a buckle are just some of the things lying on the ground. Perhaps it is the collection place for gifts to the shaman from his visitors. If you wish to place one of your own items in the stone circle, turn to 233. If you'd rather take away some of the items from the circle, press 3 or 6. Let's be polite and let's leave him something. I'm not sure what we have to leave, but I think let's just keep on the right side of this shaman. The line of rocks suddenly turn red, leading up the side of the volcano. You decide to follow the trail of red rocks, turn to 249. The head of a man suddenly pops up from behind the boulder, his hair adorned with coloured beads and feathers. He steps warily from behind the boulder, holding a feathered staff in one hand and 2 animal bones in the other. This is the island's medicine man, the shaman you are seeking. Are you wearing a feather in your hair? If you are, turn to 199. We certainly do have a feather in our hair, so let's do that. The shaman listens intently as you explain about the Lizard King and your mission to destroy him. You tell him that you wish to know how to kill the parasite, the gongchong, thus reducing the Lizard King's power. The shaman jumps in the air, where, upon hearing the word gongchong, obviously not realizing that there was still one on the island. In fractured sentences, the shaman explains that for him to share some of his secret magic with you, you must earn the right, no matter how noble the mission is. He tells you that the test will be disturbing and painful. Do you agree with the shaman's terms? Turn to 397. If you'd rather face the Lizard King without the shaman's knowledge, turn to 237. We've come this way, we're not going to give up, so I think we just need to agree to his terms. 397. The shaman tells you that you must pass 3 different tests from a choice of 6 and asks you which you wish to take first. Do you want to try luck, fear, pain, revulsion, strength and dexterity? Well, hopefully we're going to win them all. We're going to pass the test. Let's do luck first, number 2. But he's not making it easy for us, is he? The shaman places 3 nutshells on the ground and explains that under one of them lies a bead and you have to choose the correct one. Test your luck. If you are lucky, turn to 358. If you are unlucky, turn to 326. But we are lucky. We've been lucky every step of the way, so let's do this. 358. The point at the middle, I'll start again. You point at the middle shell, the shaman lifts it, and you were relieved to find the bead lying underneath it. You have passed the test. If you have now passed 3 tests, turn to 314. If not, which one will you try next? Let's go for fear. 75. The shaman walks over to you and touches your head with his fingertips. Your mind fills with terrible and threatening images, so real that you want to scream out in terror. Are you wearing red powder in your face? If you are, turn to 155. We are the cave woman's red powder. So let's turn to 155. The magical properties of the red powder help you to control your mind and gradually overcome the terrible nightmare. You have passed the test. If you've now passed 3 tests, turn to 214. If not, which one do you want to try next? We've done luck. Pain. Let's try pain. 154. 151, sorry. The shaman hands you 2 bones, telling you to hold one in each hand. All of your muscles immediately start to bulge and you feel as though your insides are expanding. You believe you are going to burst and the pain is excruciating. If you beg the shaman to stop this pain, turn to 67. If you grit your teeth and bear the pain, turn to 125. Let's grin and bear it. 125. Pass out of the pain when the shaman steps forward and takes the bones from you. You have passed the test. If you have now passed 3 tests, turn to 214. We passed luck, we passed fear, and we've passed this one, the pain. So we turn to 214. The shaman is satisfied that you have earned the right to learn his secrets. He rolls his eyes up in his head and he stands perfectly still with his arms outstretched. In a trance, he begins to describe the parasitic gong chong. Its appearance is like a giant harvest spider, only its proboscis connects into the brain of its host. In this case, it's the Lizard King. To kill it, the proboscis must be severed within seconds of its host being killed, otherwise it might leap onto its assailant in a desperate attempt to find a new host. While it controls him, the Lizard King remains almost invincible, unharmed by normal weapons. Only fire swords may injure the host of a gong chong. The Lizard King uses them himself, but in his collection has an illusion spell cast on them to make them appear as rusty old knives that nobody would steal. Using a fire sword and controlled by the gong chong, the Lizard King is a deadly fighter. Only one creature can scare him, and that is a monkey. Lizard men suffer from an innate fear of monkeys, even if controlled by a gong chong. The shaman slowly comes out of his trance and points to the southeast, saying that the prison colony lies in that direction. You bid him farewell and walk down the side of the volcano towards the Lizard King's stronghold. Turn to 168. So just to kind of summarize that, we need to kill this thing after the Lizard King almost immediately. The Lizard King is unharmed by normal weapons apart from a fire sword. So the fire sword is what we need to use to injure the host of a gong chong. So he's got an illusion spell to make them look like rusty old knives that nobody would steal. So if we see them, we know that they're fire swords. Okay, let's turn to 168. It looks like we're on the final stretch now, killing this Lizard King. So we need to get over there and do it. Do the do. You walk quickly southeast, eager to meet up with the freed slaves. You soon arrive at the edge of a ravine which is too wide for you to jump over. You walk east, infuriated by the time that you are wasting. Ahead you see a stone arch traversing the ravine. It is an armoured hobgoblin standing to guard it. And there's the hobgoblin there. Will you bluff him to cross the stone archway, offer him a gold nugget to let you cross, or attack him with your sword? We'll try and bluff our way. I don't have a gold nugget to my knowledge. Or do we have a gold nugget? I can't remember. We'll try and bluff 127. I think he'll probably want to fight us. The hobgoblin is obviously stupid, as he believes you to be one of the Lizard King's guards. He thrusts out his pike and says in a deep voice, "What is the password?" Would he reply, "What? Gong Chong of Fire Island?" Let's go with Gong Chong. The word Gong Chong strikes fear into the hobgoblin. He shrieks in terror and hurls his pike at you. Test your luck. If you are lucky, turn to 62. We're lucky. We're always lucky. The pike misses you and the hobgoblin runs away panic-stricken. You cross the archway quickly to stand on the other side of the ravine. Turn to 139. Once again, you head off southeast, walking over sand and rock. Riding towards you on a dinosaur-like steed is the heavily armoured reptilian. It is a mutant lizard man riding a Stryochorus. I think I've said that right. The Lizard King urges his mount into a trot to attack you. If you win, turn to 93. There is the Lizard King there. Or the Lizard Man, sorry. Let's turn to 195 because we've beat him. The mutant lizard man jumps off the dead Styrochorus and lumbers towards you with his halberd outstretched. So we've now got to fight the lizard man, the mutant lizard man. And we've won him. We're going to turn to 133. The mutant has a shield which you decide to take as it is light but strong. Add 1 skill point. The prison colony cannot be too far away and you waste no more time in setting off again. Turn to 218. Your legs brush against a thorny bush, instantly drawing blood. Have you drunk the aniseed tasting liquid from the jug in the hut on the beach? If you have, turn to 258. We did drink that at the very beginning when Mongo died. So we're going to turn to 258. Although the bush poison has poison-tipped thorns, you come out with no harm and walk on oblivious to the danger which is past. Turn to 291. There is literally danger around every corner here, isn't there? 291, was that? Yes. Lying dead face down in the scrub is a seaman, perhaps one of the crew of a pirate ship killed by the mutant lizard man. A monkey strains to escape from a chain held by the dead man's hand. Do you wish to take the monkey with you? Turn to 330. Well, we do know that the Lizard King has a fear of monkeys, so yes, we will take the monkey with us. So we will turn to 330. It's very convenient to find a monkey. 330. The monkey happily sits on your shoulder and you set off again in the company of your new friend. Turn to 350. Over the scrubland and one more hill you find yourself overlooking a green valley. A stone fortress lies in the middle of the valley, its striped flag fluttering in the breeze. At last you have found the prison colony and you are about to walk down into the valley when you hear a growl behind you. There is a huge saber-toothed tiger held on a rope by a blonde woman with wild feline eyes. She stares at you inquisitively as the tiger strains on its leash. Will you try to communicate with her? attack the tiger with your sword, or run away into the valley? Well, let's try and communicate with her. See how this turns out. 106. After you say a few words, you realise that the girl cannot understand you. Perhaps she was left on Fire Island as a child, has become as wild as the animals. She cowers back, uttering a few sounds to the tiger. It is obviously wise to leave her alone, so you back off slowly, hoping not to scare her. At a safe distance, you turn and walk quickly into the valley to reconcile with the freed slaves, so turn to 279. Once on the valley floor, you make your way over to a copse of trees, but as soon as you enter the copse, familiar faces suddenly appear from behind the trees. It is the dwarves, elves, and the men that you rescued from the mines. They're all waiting there for your arrival. Pleased to see them again, you tell them what happened since you saw them last, and tell them that the fort should be attacked immediately, and that you will deal with the Lizard King. You call them all together and lead them out of the copse into the valley. As you run towards the stone fort, you see its wooden gates open. The Lizard King is sending a battalion of guards and mutants out to fight you. Your small army has locked swords with the Lizard King's soldiers. Roll 1 dice. If you roll a 1 or a 2, turn to 185. A 3 or a 4, turn to 308. And if you roll a 5 or a 6, turn to 42. Let's roll a 5 or a 6, but keep our place in case it's the wrong decision. There's all of the mutants coming out to get us. 42. Yep. You raise your sword high and lunge to the nearest foe. It is a hobgoblin. If you win, turn to 341. We've won him. 341. You look around to see how the battle has gone. Many of your fellow fighters are slain and the rest are in retreat. If you have the horn of Valhalla, turn to 109. If you do not have this horn, turn to 254. We don't have it. We don't have the horn of Valhalla. Don't say that's the end. The battle has gone badly for you as more of your men fall under the onslaught of the Lizard King's fanatical troops. They say that you see their leader behind the line urging them on with a growl of battle cries. It is a huge cyclops wearing plate mail and carrying a mighty battle axe. You must defeat it in order to rally your men. And this is a huge battle now. 10 to 299. We've beat that cyclops. Your men are encouraged by the death of the cyclops and push forward with a new heart. As the Lizard King's troops start to fall back, you break through the line and run to the wooden gates of the fort. You enter the inner courtyard and see 2 sets of doors leading into the building. If you wish to walk through the double doors to your left, go to 268. If you'd rather try the doors straight ahead, turn to 84. Let's try the doors to the left first because we need to find these knives. These fire swords, posing as rusty knives. 268. This is pretty intense now. 268. The door opens into a corridor which runs to the left and right of you. Prison cells with iron barred doors line the far wall of the corridor. Looking left, the corridor comes to a dead end, so you turn right. In the end cell by the wooden door, you see a frail old man sitting on a wooden bench. chained to the wall and the cell door is open, but the wooden door leading out of the corridor is firmly locked. Shall we free the old man and try and open the wooden door? Let's free him. He could be of some use for us. He's obviously a prisoner there for a reason. He must be an important prisoner. As you enter his cell, you are surprised that the old man remains silent. If you're wearing the ring of confusion, turn to 394. If you're not wearing this ring, turn to 318. I'll keep our place in case this is the wrong thing to do. Turn to 318. You reach the old man. He starts to metamorphosize in front of your eyes. Green spikes burst through his clothing and in his mouth becomes a pair of slavering jaws lined with razor-sharp teeth. He is not a man but a shape changer, and you must fight him. We've won the shape changer, V72. You try to do a good deed and this is what happens. You leave the cell and its gruesome inmate and try and open the wooden door. Maybe that's the last time we try to help people, eh? 227. If you possess 3 iron keys, turn to 3273. If you do not have any keys, turn to 162. I don't remember having 3 iron keys. I might have. I'll assume we do. I haven't kept a tally of the possessions I've received. Let's have these keys. 373. I hope I'm right. One of the keys fits the lock and you push the door open. Turn to 393. 395, sorry. 395. You find yourself standing in a dingy torture chamber. It is full of terrible instruments of pain racks, thumbscrews, iron maidens and whips. You also see some rusty knives lying on the table in the corner of the chamber. Will you pick up a whip, pick up a rusty knife, or ignore everything and head for the door on the far wall? Well, we're going to pick up the rusty knife because we know that is a fire sword posing in the form of a rusty knife, so we're going to turn to 275. As soon as you touch the handle of one of the knives, it changes in appearance. Instead of a dull old knife, you find yourself holding the most magnificent sword with a flaming blade. It is one of the Lizard King's own fire swords, at 2 skill points and 2 luck points. Cutting your new weapon through the air, you make your way to the door of the far wall. We're ready to do this. Come on, we've got this one in the bag. 312. The door opens to a small storeroom stacked with barrels and sacks. If you wish to look inside one of the barrels, turn to 3231. If you'd rather make your way over to the next door on the far wall. We're here for the Lizard King, but let's have a look. I just hope curiosity doesn't kill the cat. The barrel is full of pineapples, all rotten and covered with fruit flies, but hidden behind the barrel you see a water bottle lying on the floor. You pull out the cork and sniff the contents. It might be water, but there is a musty smell rising out of the bottle. Do you wish to drink the liquid? Turn to 6. If you'd rather walk over to the door on the far wall, turn to 253. Let's have a look to see what it is. I'll keep my finger where that is in case it's the wrong decision. Drinking the liquid makes you feel dizzy, but your body feels charged with energy. Add 1 skill point and 2 stamina points for drinking water from an enchanted stream. Refreshed, you walk over to the door on the far wall. Curiosity didn't kill the cat. It actually gave us more points. 353. The Lizard King's laboratory. Suddenly you hear footsteps coming from the other side of the door on the far wall. If you wish to draw your sword to meet whoever is about to enter the laboratory, turn to 260. If you'd rather hide under one of the benches, turn to 77. Well, I guess as long as we're ready to attack, well, let's just face who it is. We're ready to fight this Lizard King. Oh, the door flies open and a dwarf shackled by his arms and legs is pushed into the laboratory by a grotesque two-headed lizard man. The mutant sees you and snarls. He hurls the poor dwarf to one side and strides forward to attack you with its scimitar. A two-headed lizard man. Well, we've won him. 173, and there is the two-headed lizard man there in the little dwarf. I did say earlier that the images in this book are just not a patch on the original editions of these books. Do check them out if you're interested, because they are just fantastic, but these just don't quite capture it for me. The dwarf shouts for joy as the lizard man slumps to the floor. If you have a picklock's wire, turn to 293. If you do not have the thief's tool, turn to 216. Do we have it? Do we have a picklock's wire? I'm going to assume I do, because I haven't been keeping a tally of what I've got. Stupidly. 293. I wonder how much of a sense of achievement you would feel if you played this properly and got this far. Be quite an achievement. 293. The dwarf shackles are undone by the picklock's wire. Add one lock point. You tell him that you are heading the attack on the prison colony and ask where the Lizard King is hiding. He tells you that the Lizard King is in the fort's front battlement, urging on his troops. You tell the dwarf to take the mutant scimitar and help his fellow men outside. You wish him good luck and run through the open doorway ahead. Turn to 180. You find yourself in a corridor that turns sharply to the right. On the corner, a spiral staircase is winding up the centre of a tower. You have a feeling that you should climb the staircase. Turn to 82. Come on, we just need the Lizard King now. Wow. More creatures. You run up the staircase and reach a wooden door. Turning the handle slowly, you open it slightly. There is an open air, and standing astride the battlement is the infamous Lizard King, waving a clenched fist and calling out to his troops. A strange black lion sits obediently at his side, but at the sight of the gong chong on the Lizard King's head makes you tremble. You breathe in deeply and step out onto the battlements. You wave onto your own troops and call out to the Lizard King. He does not even bother to look at you, but merely snaps his fingers to send the black lion bounding at you. And there's the gong chong kind of on his head, if you see that there. That's a good image, and that's the black lion. Yeah. Okay, so we've got to fight this black lion, and you know what? We've won him. We've won him. So now we're going to have to fight the Lizard King. 203. The Lizard King finally turns to look at you, standing in disbelief at the sight of his dead pet. He steps towards you angrily, cleaving the air with his fists with his fire sword. If you are carrying the monkey on your shoulder, turn to 314. If you have without monkey, but we do have the monkey on our shoulder, who has been with me through all these fighting going on. Bless him, he must be traumatized. Or she. 314. Are you holding a fire sword as your weapon? If you are, turn to 296. Well, we do have the fire sword. 296. The Lizard King suddenly halts as he catches sight of your monkey. He starts to shake. His fear of monkeys is quite evident. He is so terrified that he can hardly raise his sword and defend himself as you rush forward. Only the mental urging of the Gong Chong forces the Lizard King into token resistance. And there we are. We're fighting the Lizard King, and look at his skill and stamina. It's quite high, that. But we're going to defeat him. Part of me kind of thinks I should have just played this fight at the end the right way with the dice, but you know what? This is just for relaxation, so let's win him and turn to 153. Your last fatal blow sent the Lizard King crashing to the stone floor. Will you salute your troops? Sever the Gong Chong's proboscis. Search through the Lizard King's clothing. Well, we need to kill the Gong Chong, so we're going to sever that. 3, 8, 4. We need to kill it straight away. 3, 8, 4. Probably going to have to fight that now. Before the Gong Chong can withdraw its proboscis from the island, from the Lizard King, you slice through it with your sword. Both the Lizard King and the Gong Chong are slain. Turn to 400. You throw the vile Gong Chong over the wall and stand on the battlements in full view of your men. A cheer rises from below, and you watch with satisfaction as they easily defeat the Lizard King's demoralized troops. The battle is over and the victory is yours. The elves, dwarves and men can now return to their homes on the mainland, and the slave mines of Fire Island will close forever. Mungo would have been proud of you. And that's it. We beat the Lizard King. We killed the Gong Chong. We did all of that. Well, you did all of that. Well, you listened and I cheated. But thank you very much for joining me with Island of the Lizard King. It's a book that I loved as a kid. I did play it properly as a kid, and I'm sure I won. I'm sure I got to the very end. I've got lots more of these books. If you want me to read another one, do let me know. I've got a whole bunch of them, and I'll cover this in another video, which ones I've got, and we can decide together which one you might want to hear. But thank you for joining me on this trip to Fire Island and looking for the Lizard King. Hope you have a lovely, relaxing night and have a really restful evening. You take care, and I will see you soon.